Okay, here we go. We were so we were 11th, and we were trying to get the 10th place. So let's see what happened and how the last half an hour played out for us. It was a really intense moment when we crossed the finish line. So I hope we get. Hope you enjoy watching this. There's some nice bits and pieces in the race. They will showcase. So there's live commentary from Sim Racers World. Thank you to them for broadcasting the whole 24 hours of Kota. And yeah, we enjoyed it very much. It didn't go out as planned as we expected, but however we got a top 10 finish. Little spoiler, but you'll see how it will play out.
In the next 30 minutes, we'll start to see some battles involved once again.
We absolutely will, yeah. And here is the kart academy car, Jensen Dalou. Yeah, on the same lap, 30 seconds ahead of Perry Ostavir, which, as I said before, is an interesting pit strategy they went for. But to be fair, I think Jensen Dalou has actually got to go into the pits yet again. So that 30-second gap may well come back towards Ostavir. Marcus Goebel is actually on the same lap as Jensen, but he's an awful long way ahead, 1 minute and 9 seconds. So I don't expect that that's going to be a change for 9th place, but we could well see a change for 10th. Everybody in the chat, you guys have... No, your guys are the one that's amazing. No. Thank you very much.
So what's happening now is they're looking at the Kart Academy car. The Kart Academy car is in 10th place right now, about 30 seconds ahead of us. So yeah, we got something to catch up with, but what I didn't expect of what we expected is they still had to do one more pit stop, so did we. So yeah, it will be even more interesting to see how this will play out. So this is Jensen Dalou. This is Perry, so this is our driver racing the last half an hour for us.
Broadcast here on Sim Racers
Number
World
11
TV, so
car.
thank you very much, anybody.
Yeah, and he will do the strategy, so we are in the background looking at the strategy, what we're gonna do with it and everything, how we're gonna fix this, trying to close the gap as fast as possible, so we can secure that top 10 position.
We do have events on the way as well, so tonight,
that's about it.
So
I will let you hear the commentators.
Sponsored by H20 Esports. It's at Alton Park, in which it is myself and Hasselema. You have listened to us both today at some point along the lines. We are both commentating on that, and we also have our resident wizard, Chaz Draycott, who you will have had the delight of watching on the cameras throughout the night. He is racing in that for Sancho Esports, so keep an eye out for that this evening. And then tomorrow on Monday we have another stream. It's the Sim Racing World NASCAR Dynamics NASCAR.
So you can see now on screen that the Kart Academy car is now in the pit lane.
And then on Tuesday,
so here's our chance of passing them and extending our gap, because we still had one more pit stop to go.
And then we do get a couple of days
one more
break,
pit stop. We're doing a little bit of strategy here.
Get it marked down in your calendars.
The
3
pit
o'clock
stops
GMT.
didn't come out very well until the end, so we had to do a little pit stop, just refueling and go. Splash and dash, as they say. So here's where we're gonna pass the Kart Academy car.
Busy couple of events on the way, and it just shows that these long haul events really can't overshadow anything else, because all the events, they are all great, no matter how long or short they are. Specifically the 24 hours I really do enjoy, but you can't really beat the SRW TCR series, because you've got 3 races in one night and it's all nose to tail, proper nip and tuck action. But we've seen something of the like today as well, haven't we?
We have indeed, yeah. I'm just keeping an eye on the chat as well. Charles Draco's joined in on the chat, and he's snaking our fellow SRW commentators are Pete Mackay. They're both up for the VCO Simi Awards, although Chaz has only mentioned himself. But obviously, everybody wanting the votes for him as well. But either way, make your way over to the Twitter, the VCO Simi Awards Twitter, and you'll be able to see and be able to vote on a whole host of categories. But obviously, our own Chaz Draycott and Pete Mackay have both been awarded the opportunity to win the Up-and-Coming Commentators Award. So it's brilliant to have them guys all involved in such a prestigious award. And anybody watching here, head on over to that Twitter, because you can certainly show some support for the SRW team in voting for either of those two guys.
Great stuff. They definitely deserve it, both of them. And I've got to say, if I could have multiple votes, I would probably vote for them both. However, I have voted for one and not the other.
In the meanwhile, do a little recap. So let's start at the beginning of the race. The same driver is driving now, Perry Osterveer.
Got to make my decision, and one of my older teams, fiercely forward,
started the race.
Brought up for the
and he secured a P11. So now we are in the pit stop. Wait one moment,
so
we are in the pit stop now.
Great little categories that you can vote on. And lots
I don't know if they.
Max Verstappen and,
so we do a splash and dash here, and it's going to be very close here together, coming out of the pit lane.
That they've put together. There is a race going on apparently, Jacko. I didn't get the memo, but apparently there is a race going on in the background. We've got loads of LMP2s in the pit lane. There is Matthias. What did we decide it was? Karhalainen?
Karhalainen, I think we were going
yes. For PM Esports, the number 37 in 7th place. The Finn bringing the car into the pit lane. Perry Osterveer in the pit lane now as well. And I think, let's just have a look what lap we're on. I think Jensen De Lau has, no, I thought he just left the pit lane, but he's just passing the pit lane now. Does he pick up a position? I think he does. He will pass Perry Osterveer. No, he won't, because Perry's already going back down the hill. So that battle's reignited. 6.8 seconds between the pair of them. And the number 84 car.
So this is the last stint that we're having.
On the fresher rubber. However, Jensen De Lau has already got his car on temperature.
Yeah, so, and it's going to be a couple of key laps now to see the battle between those two drivers, which has been going on for about the last hour. See how that finally develops, and they're easily the closest battle we've seen for a while, really, Osterveer and De Lau. But this is now on board with Harry Pipes, who obviously is following this little battle. So he seems to have popped up more often than not. Mainly not because he's actually in his own little battle, but actually because he's always in the traffic around the battle we're trying to focus on as Colmore comes into the pits.
Next level racing LMP2 machine.
So I will do the recap again. So at the start, Perry Osterveer secured the P11 qualifying position. So we did qualify on P11. He started the race. We had a great clean start as everybody else. So there were no big collisions and such. So we were very happy that no chaos happened and everything. Then we got racing and everything was okay. We were driving very consistent, very good lap times. We were gaining positions, and yeah, the last thing I really know is that we were gaining positions and that teams were losing out on positions, having incidents, having penalties.
Yeah, and as you say before, this
we were trying to keep that down.
And make sure they're getting out there.
These things. So
I think it's pretty safe to say that a lot of these drivers are going to be as they were, apart from this battle for the top 10, obviously with Perry Osterveer and Jensen and De Lau in the Kart Academy car that you're currently on board with, the number 84 car. It may be towards the bottom of the order, but this will mean everything to them, won't it? It'll be like trying to go for that race win, really. It doesn't matter what particular battle you're in. Everybody out there who's ever raced sim racing or real life will always see it doesn't matter what battle you're in terms of whether it's for first place or 20th place or 30th place. If you're in a battle with another car, you want to win it. And these guys are doing exactly that. We're on board with Oscar Wilkins now, exactly, who who is actually getting in the way a little bit of Jensen, but he jumps out of the way now, and of course he's got his own.
Okay, so we were racing until like I think it was 6
and Oscar Wilkins. So
6
that gap has come
6
down.
a.m.
25 minutes ago, I can't see it.
I was driving the car,
They're probably just maintaining
just
the gap,
about
to be honest,
to give the
lap
car
2
away
seconds
to
quicker
my
by,
colleague.
It was indeed definitely bringing that gap down. Here is Petty Ustrava.
Something happened. Little replay. 1 minute.
In towards the hairpin at the bottom of the straight. Does he overtake himself? He does indeed on the brakes. Cold tyres. Leaps the car around. Style points, definitely. Definitely deserves
Style points.
For that one. Although that will have massively hurt his fresh set of tyres, and that does mean now that Jensen Delow and Kart Academy.
So it's coming very close right here.
Definitely brought them within touching distance, and with still just over 20 minutes of the race remaining, if Jensen gets within that crucial 1 second margin, he will have that draft assist.
The real racing is starting now, actually, so
a lot can happen.
Yeah, I was watching Strictly Come Dancing last night after my stint, and I think Perry Osterveer has actually given the best spin I've seen over the weekend. He's managed to just style it out, but now obviously it's pulled the Kart Academy car really close, and now it's just about a second the gap between these two drivers. They won't be very pleased about that. Osterveer, I'm sure, will be a bit annoyed, and they'll have overcooked his tyres as well, which means he'll have to just manage to get the car back down to temperature and make sure that he's able to get the car underneath him before he starts pushing again, because although he's been cool, calm and collected, when you do a little spin like that towards the right at the end of the race, and then you see a potential overtaking car come up behind you, an actual battle for position, that can really get in your head, can't it, Jack? It's a bit of a struggle then. You sort of start overthinking, you start overdriving, and that'll play into the hands of Jensen Delow more than it will.
So I was saying we were driving at the time. I gave the car away 6th position to my colleague Matt Hess, and he got in the car. He drove 5 laps, and he had some problem with the wheelbase. The wheelbase disconnected from the game. So that's why we lost a lot of places. I think we could drove the top 5, but yeah. There's always error, there's mechanical failure, and these are the mechanical failures in sim racing. So these things happen. There's nothing we can do about it. So yeah. But let's watch the battle between Jensen and Perry. Kart Academy and A-PEX Racing Team. So let's enjoy it as long as it lasts. So it's another 20 minutes, and be sure to follow the battle. It's going to be close racing for the next 20 minutes. And yeah, there's a little surprise. We will finish P10. Spoiler again, but you'll see what's happened and what will happen. And it will be very interesting to see how it works out. Yeah.
A couple of minutes, 99% of the time, but we've now got them within a second of each other, Jack. We're really being treated to this, aren't we?
We are. Well, it's not like we've had a boring 3.5 hours, to be fair. We've had plenty of interesting and stimulating conversations from various driver interviews, but and obviously conversation between ourselves, Jack. But yeah, this is a real treat coming up to the final stages of this, what has been a very, very good endurance 24-hour event hosted by Next Level, obviously. And at the moment, the A-PEX Racing team and the Kart Academy team are stealing the show, as less than a second of the gap now is 0.8 as the Jensen Delow used a little bit of the slipstream from the Audi ahead, and now used an awful lot of the slipstream for the A-PEX Racing team just ahead. And I think we're going to potentially have a change for this top 10 position within the next lap.
Yeah, it does look like that is on the cards. We'll use the chopper cam. We haven't used it much. You can really see the gap between the pair of them now. Now we're up in the skies. Jensen Delow really getting close through the twisty sector 3. Now through the very tight left-hander. Doesn't look that tight from the chopper cam, but believe me, when you're behind the wheel, it does approach very, very quickly. 5 tenths between the pair of them. Half a second getting much closer now, heading towards the penultimate corner. 4 tenths separating the pair of them. Jensen Delow, I'm guessing he's going to take no prisoners here. He's going to get the overtake done nice and cleanly, and hopefully to Perry Ostrava's demise, he might just slowly start to disappear into the distance. That will be the plan. Easier said than done though up here in the commentary box. because it looks like the Kart Academy car quicker through the twisty bits on the straight. A-PEX Racing Team seem to have the legs a little look, just to fill his mirrors, put him off maybe just before the A-PEX, but these cars are only going to get closer, Jacko, and like you say, I think you hit the nail on the head there. This overtake is coming within the next couple of minutes, I think.
Yeah, and to be fair to the A-PEX Racing Team, they look like they've just been reeled in. They're going really slowly. There is a tow in effect here. There is a draft that the Kart Academy car obviously is using. And as soon as the Kart Academy car gets past, which we will assume is probably going to be at the end of the back straight, because that's the most common place for this overtake to happen. The A-PEX Racing Team, as long as they stay within that sort of 0.8 to a second margin, he will be able to use the opportunity to go for the draft as well. And as we're going onto the back straight now, they're overtaking. They've got an IRNL car in the way, and away we go. The Kart Academy car has actually dropped back just a touch, so he might not have the opportunity to overtake him.
Yeah, I think that wasn't helped by the Kart Academy car there. Maybe just had to slow Jensen Blue down a little bit on the A-PEX. Obviously, it's not 100% required that the slower car moves out of the way. It's advisable. Obviously, you listen to the blue flags. You don't have to go miles offline. You can just maybe leave it wide at a corner or something like that, but you're not required to immediately get out of the way. After a while, obviously, you will receive a penalty for ignoring blue flags, but the IRNL car did everything he had to at that point. Jensen Deleu, this gap has opened up a little bit now. This time last lap we were half a second apart. This time now we are a second apart, so they're slowly starting to lose a bit of time on each other while they've got that gap. We've had a bit of an off-track moment for Nick Stoop. What happened here? This is heading through the final sector sideways, 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 and that's once again the roaring chicken nuggets machine. Does he grab a reverse, or does he just go grab first and go straight onto the track? He gets going again once there's no traffic on the way. Does he head into the pit lane? No, heads towards the final corner and continues on. We'll have to go back live with this battle, mainly because it's opened up 1 second, make that 0.8 of a second. He's really getting close. However, they do now have, I think that is the number 69 machine separating them.
Yeah, I thought that was the battle. I was like, that didn't look like 0.8 of a second, but it's because they've got a car in between, and they've got a car. Yeah, they have got just a car in between. I thought there was going to be a car ahead as well. So, I'm sure the lapped car, I'm not sure who it is actually, will jump out of the way as soon as possible of the 84 car. But looking at the inside there, the 69 car, I'm actually getting mixed up with who is wearing this little battle.
Yeah, so it's Freak Schroert who was the car in third place, trying to get by and lose as little time as possible. But while that has happened, that has now given the draft assistance to Perry Oosterhout, and obviously by all means he is more than welcome to do this. Tucked up underneath the rear wing, got the draft assistance now back in front, so he's done what he needs to do, put a car in between himself and Jensen Deleu. A big look up the inside by the number 69 machine. That's Freak now back in front, runs wide, touches the AstroTurf, doesn't get the best run out of there. They're still side by side, no overlap anymore as they meet the A-PEX, but these two are now closer together than they have ever been, within 0.2 of a second. Jensen Deleu really tucked underneath the rear wing now, maybe on the start finish line. A big look up the inside here. Can he get it slowed down? He does. Grabs the A-PEX. It will become the outside for the triple A-PEX right-hander heading through the final sector now. Perry Oosterhout somehow still in front in the number 11 machine, but the number 84, the Kart Academy LMP2 entry, still hot on the heels through the penultimate corner now, and they're still nose to tail within 0.2 of a second. It's not on the start finish straight, I don't know where. There's another look up the inside. There's Jensen Deleu, almost contact there, compromises his line on the way in. That might just give Perry Oosterhout that crucial margin that he needs on the run up towards turn 1, Jacko.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 hours and 45 minutes, and it's all come down to this for these two cars. Traffic playing its part, tone playing a part, setup playing a part, strategy maybe even playing a part as well. But it's certainly heating up nicely, and it's exactly what we want to see. They're clearly so closely matched between each other, 0.6 the gap now. It just keeps opening up, coming away, opening up, coming away. And to be fair to the likes of Kart Academy car of Jensen Deleu, he'll be cursing the traffic, because it's 2 laps now that he's not had the opportunity to get past, thanks to the fact that there's been traffic involved, whether he's had to slow up to get past the GTE car, or whether Perry Oosterhout has been able to get the tow from an overtaking Freak Stockhorst. But he's going to potentially have an opportunity now, although he's gapped away a little bit, and there's even more traffic, which means Perry Oosterhout may well have the tow as well, as you see a little bit of traffic just ahead. So yeah, it doesn't seem to be quite going the way of Jensen yet, as that is Jerome Vandenberg in the trackside Wolfpack car getting in the middle. but it depends on where they meet this Audi now. Is Jensen going to have to dive him up the inside, or will he be able to just about get past him without losing too much time? This is all sort of things that you have to start thinking about as a driver. There's probably just mute your teammates. Nothing about strategy can help you now. It's all down to the drivers that are in the car trying to finish this race.
It is indeed 1.5 seconds separating the pair of them now. The car in P9 in the pit lane, that's Marcus Goebel. So he is coming for his final stop. Only a few minutes of the race remaining, 12 minutes just about now. I didn't think that .exe car would get to the end, and he's had to drop into the pit lane just to grab the final few drips of fuel. And now look, this is the traffic that is going to play the part and decide whether Jensen de Leeuw will get into the top 10 or not. Carl's Academy car still chasing down the A-PEX Racing Team machine. We'll have a look up the road. He's put another car between himself. This is all he needs to do. Just keep putting laps car after laps car after laps car between himself and Jensen de Leeuw. However, he's run out of traffic now. The only thing in front of him is the number 69 Next Level Racing machine, so not something that he would be able to put between himself and the number 84 machine. Here is Jensen de Leeuw still charging on. Where is Peri Ostrova? Up the road, almost 2 seconds in front now. That's dropped down massively. 1.1 seconds. A very quick couple of corners there from Jensen de Leeuw in response. 1.2 seconds still floating around here, but once again we're starting to see traffic play a massive part in deciding this battle. Just over 10 minutes of the race remaining after 23 hours and 48 minutes of the race gone. This battle is only going to be decided when they cross the line.
It's incredible to think, really, isn't it? We've gone so long on this race, and as you said, even on this broadcast, we didn't expect anything to be really happening in the final 30 minutes. We thought we'd just be recapping and sort of telling stories throughout the race and making sure everybody's up to speed with all the top 10s in each category, but it's absolutely not the case, because these two are really stealing the show and stealing the last 4 hours spotlight as well, to be fair. It's giving us something to cheer about and something to cheer people on and for, and giving everybody who's watching as well something to have a look at, as the Car Academy car has now just dropped away 1.8 seconds, so not quite the lap time that he's been hoping for, but you never know, he'll be able to push that on. Maybe he's tuned his tyres up a little bit and overheated there a touch against Peri Osterveer. That's what we're going to have to probably have a look at about this time next lap and see what the gap is then.
Yeah, we'll have to have a look. This is Rene Sinker. What's happened here? Big hit on the sausage curve. Not what you want in the final few minutes of the race. That's the GTE leader, Oscar Wilkins, nearly going into the side. Does the clever thing, grabs reverse gear, makes sure he's well and truly out of the way. Great sportsmanship driving from himself, making sure he doesn't compromise any fellow drivers. Joins the track, trying to avoid the grass, and then back up on to pace there. But still the sausage curves under the final few minutes of the race, catching people out. The gaps come out to about 1.6 seconds now. So like you say, it could just be the tyres have been worn down a little bit by Jensen de Leeuw. He's just pulled back a little bit, still within fighting range, of course, 1.5 seconds there. But he could just be reassessing the situation, letting the car cool down, and then re-attack in the final few minutes of the race. And 10 minutes of the race remaining, Jacko, and it's still up in the air as who's going to get into the top 10. 1.2 seconds to gap now.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Sprint race, basically, time, isn't it? As more traffic is playing a part for these two LMP cars, the last thing they want to do is go into the back of any of them, but I think that's, yeah, the gap now down to below a second yet again, because obviously Perry was actually in the middle of those two GT3 cars, and now as Jensen is able to just drift past them, let's see if he's able to go to the inside of this GT3 car. The last thing he wants to do is be held up again and let that gap to go over a second. He dives to the inside, and he just keeps it to about 9/10 of a second, so he is within touching distance. But it's not quite as close as he'd want to be at this stage of the race. He can see 10th place in his eyes. It's just whether or not he can actually get his car racing yellow MP2 car, LMP2 car, up to that finishing order. But a great race, and as you said, Nick Foster is still very far ahead of Aaron Taylor and the Next Level Racing by SJS, Fred Stockhart as well. He's in third place. There's been no change in any of the other positions, so this is the one we're focusing on.
Yeah, these are the closest cars on track, the closest we've seen cars on track for hours on end. 1.2 seconds still the gap, and really at this point Jensen de Leeuw, although it looks like he's dropping back and he's not really within touching distance anymore, he is the one in the driving seat. All he needs to do is sit behind to see what he can do, put the pressure on. He doesn't necessarily have to overtake him. It could just be Peri Ostrova making a slight mistake. However, looking at Perry's performance throughout the race, it seems like he has got this under control. But look how much closer they have got now. That bit of traffic has really slowed Peder Justrova down, now back down to 0.4 of a second. Jensen de Leeuw will get through once again, and it just shows traffic has halved the margin between the pair of them, almost within half a second now. 0.6 between the number 11 and the number 84. Who was that managed to get in the way? I think that was the Project Dynamic 2 car. Yeah, obviously through no fault of his own, he's just brought that battle right up and close. Once again, Peder Justrova now negotiating a bit of traffic. He will get the draft assistance off the Next Level Racing Porsche in front, but look who is right underneath his rear wing once again.
Yeah, it's just never ending. If you're an LMP2 car, you're the fastest car out there at the moment in terms of class. It's pretty much never ending, the traffic. You may get half a lap of clean air before you catch one of the GTEs or GT3s. There's just so many more of them than the LMP2s that they don't really have to worry too much about. So yeah, I mean, he could have a lap of clean air where you do see Perry maybe just pull a little bit of a gap, but as soon as he catches a car up, it's almost halved. It just looks like maybe Jensen doesn't quite have the sort of the last 5% to really push the car past the A-PEX Racing team, but you never know, it could come out. I mean, you've raced in these sort of situations before, Jack. What's going through the driver's head, starting with potentially Perry Osterveer? What do you reckon he's thinking right now? After 23 hours and 53 minutes, what would you be thinking?
The pressure is monumental. You're saying in your head, don't let it get to me, don't let it get to me. It's not what you want. You don't want a car following you everywhere around the circuit. You're just looking at the car ahead, you're thinking, right, that's a back marker, and the only thing that you want to do is get in front of it, put another car in between you. If you can have a car in between you, yes, you give the toe back to the car behind, but they will have a slower car. So if you can get past now, it'd be perfect for Perry, because it means that the GTE will slow down Jensen de Leeuw, but he is getting slowed down himself now. 0.2 of a second the gap between the pair of them, and it shows traffic can work with you, but it can definitely work against you now. Look at Jensen de Leeuw. He's going to get back by once again. Very similar situation to the lap prior. So Peder Justrova, all this
getting very close now.
He is going to be under mountains of it now. Jensen de Leeuw's thinking, right, come on, let's be having it. He will be pushing every single ounce of performance out of that Dallara P217 in towards the hairpin. He will have the massive amount of draft assistance off the car ahead. Look how close he is this time, Jacko. And this is the point where Jensen de Leeuw's thinking, right, I need to size up my move, make sure I don't lock up, look for my braking zone, brake a couple of meters earlier just because you're on the inside. Depending on which way he goes, is Peder Justrova going to go defensive? He moves the car over to the left-hand side. Jensen de Leeuw over to the right-hand side. He's going to have to be very brave on the brakes to get the move done there. However, he could look for the cutback, compromises his line on the way in, maybe flips over to the left-hand side, doesn't get the best run on the way out. They still remain as they are, but they're much, much closer than they've ever been once again. Yeah,
good defensive drive on Peder Justrova. They're going into the middle of the circuit and just stopping just enough on the A-PEX. Oh, it's up the inside there. Oh, Jensen. Close, but no cigar. Yeah, good defensive drive from Perry going after that sort of back straight, really just going to the middle of the circuit and stopping on the A-PEX just enough that Jensen couldn't quite get the room to make the cutback work for him. So the number 11 car showing his racecraft now. He may well know that it's not really working, that everything pretty much is working against him in terms of conceding this top 10 position, but he's trying his best. We just entered the last 5 minutes of this race. 23 hours, 55 minutes complete. 24 hours is the target, 5 minutes to go. And well, all of a sudden, the last half an hour, we've been out of breath just looking at this battle. But the whole field has absolutely done an amazing job as well. Looking back over the last 24 hours, I mean, our 4 hours since, I'm sure Hasso and Ed will agree, it's been incredible driving up and down, very memorable for all these drivers to be a part of. A little bit of the hit of the curve there by Peder Justrova. I'm very surprised that he got away with that, to be honest. It's the last thing he'll be wanting to do, but that's what happens when you start driving in your mirrors.
Yeah, it's a very easy mistake to make. The .exe esports car, the number 10, Marcus Goebel, leaving the pit lane now, so he will be going to the end. The closest battle on the circuit, apart from these two, is 53 seconds apart. That's between Matt Lubser and Dennis Neidhart. Those two have been getting further and further away, whereas these two have been getting closer and closer. However, I think Jensen de Leeuw got held up by a little bit of traffic there. The gap's back out to 1 second. I think, well, I'm not going to say it, but traffic is the only thing that will flip this battle on its head. Once again, Peder Justrova has put another car, or Justrova, pardon me, I will eventually get it right, has put another car in between himself and Jensen de Leeuw. Jensen dispatches of the IRNL Porsche. Once again,
last 3.5 minutes.
And he's going back towards Peder Justrova. Let's see what happens here is that the GT3 leader, it is indeed.
Two
so
laps.
There is Jeremy van der Kaats in the 2:16, and the gap has come out very nicely for Petty Ustrava. Jensen de Leeuw has another car to dispatch of. There we go, they are back where they want to be. Penultimate corner for Jensen de Leeuw, heading towards the final corner now, and with only, 3 laps maximum of this race remaining. I'm trying to figure out where the leader is. Nick Foster is coming up on this battle as well, so keep an eye on him if he finds some almighty pace on the final couple of laps. But it looks like, across the line now, 23 minutes and 57 of the race gone, 3 minutes of the race remaining. It looks like 2 laps, so Jensen de Leeuw has got it all to do.
Yeah, he does, and that will be actually really rather satisfying to those people who like even numbers, because I think the lap counter is going to end on lap 740, so that's somewhat satisfying, isn't it? There's something about that that's, yeah, very satisfying. But the Apex Hunters car of Nick Foster and the entire team have done an absolutely brilliant job, as has, like I said, most of the field, to be honest. Oh, it's gone very, very close. I think that must have been a lot of traffic, and that's actually Oscar Wilkins that I think has gotten in the way there of in the Sim Controls Exvolante car. And here they go. All of a sudden, it's darting to the outside. Not Wilkins. Ustavir is having to defend, already going into the hairpin, but Jensen de Leeuw knew exactly what he was doing. It's all about the exit rather than the entry into that corner. And does he have the slipstream now? We've seen that Ustavir doesn't mind going defensive into the corner. You can see the closing speed, maybe. It doesn't look that pronounced, actually, as Ustavir is still going slightly defensive. Under braking there, he's having to brake slightly earlier. Jensen de Leeuw with the cutback, maybe. No, not close enough. And I thought the closing speed was going to be a lot quicker there, but it wasn't quite, as Ustavir is still not taking the optimal racing line. Jensen de Leeuw is taking that responsibility. And this is a great shot as they attack these curves. Oh, the inside, big lunge into the contact there. Ustavir has been turned around by Jensen de Leeuw. And as I said, 23 hours, 58 and a half minutes, and it's come down to contact. That's not what we wanted to see, as Ustavir will be turned around. I'm sure we'll be having a word to the stewards.
Yeah, it was very close there. I'm not sure how Jensen de Leeuw avoided the contact there. There was half a gap, and then Ustavir just went for the apex. Maybe not aware that Jensen de Leeuw would be brave enough to go for that move. And there you go. That is Ustavir pointing the wrong way. And Jensen de Leeuw continues on without too much of an issue. Not what we like to see, and that has put 3 seconds between the pair of them now. So that great little battle, I'm afraid, has come to an end all too soon, as I think Nick Foster is on to the final lap of the race. So 23 hours and 59 minutes completed, 24 hours 1 minute away, and Nick Foster and Apex Hunters they got to the front after taking
what happened now is that
Project Black earlier on in the race, and they
we were talking, we went to the stewards and said that this was a move that wasn't
we have to focus on the leaders for each category, to be fair, as
wasn't
well.
nice, wasn't fair, wasn't racing.
In first place. It's not like they
He just saw the timer. We can see that it's, yeah, 24 hours, we have 15 seconds left on the clock, and the 24 hours is over. So we went to the stewards, we said we want you to check this incident to see if you see anything that's not done. So they were checking it. Of course, yeah, it's a very close gap to say when it's something to give a penalty or not, because yeah, 24 hours 17 seconds, so it's our last lap. When we cross the finish line, it's over. So in less than 2 minutes, yeah, less than 2 minutes, less than
so that they don't take the checkered flag or something.
Yeah, 1 minute it was. We went to the stewards, and the stewards said in one minute time we got an answer from the stewards, and they said yeah, we'll give them a drive-through, so that it will be added at the end of the race.
United LMP2 team crossed the line to win the 24 hours of the Circuit of the Americas by Next Level Racing. Great job by the number 3 team. Oscar Wilkins through the final corner to win the GTE class for Sim Controls Exvolante Esports. A great comeback drive from themselves.
So yeah, congratulations to all race winners in their class. And yeah, that was a really unfortunate move from Jensen. It was not very clean. He went for a gap that wasn't there.
CXR Project Black and Aaron Taylor crossed the line.
Yeah, nothing much to say about it actually. That it wasn't a clean move. We were very disappointed that it happened that way, but we still secured the
turn 1. Look at that. Nick
the
Foster celebrating
10th position.
Donuts with all of his teammates, and we've still got people trying to finish the race.
Yeah, oh, what a feeling Nick Foster must be feeling now, as well as everybody else as well involved with that team. This is Matt Labser as well coming up to finish the race in what looks like a very dirty Porsche GTE car. The Next Level Racing SJS Esport guys are coming up to this as well. There's the SRW car that we've kept an extra biased eye on, let's face it, being the SRW broadcasters. But they've done a good job as well, and they've had some notable stories as well throughout the evening and the day. So it's Ian Roots taking the SRW car across the line, as everybody else seems to as well. This is the 69 car in 3rd place at the moment, the Next Level Racing by SJS Esports. And as long as they don't get hit up the rear by the LMP2 just behind, I'm sure they'll be coming across the line to take 3rd place. And the 77 car as well is the Next Level Racing LMP2 who takes 5th. So that's all the LMP cars, apart from A-PEX Racing Team actually, taking the line. And wow, what a 24 hours we've had. It's been brilliant racing. I hope you guys have enjoyed it, obviously watching at home, or if you've been involved in it. It's been fantastic from our point of view. Congratulations to all the drivers, all the winners, and the podium sitters and everything like that, and as well the stewards and everybody who's organised it. Absolutely awesome. Well done.
So guys, thank you for watching a little recap of our 24 hours. We thought it was the most important to include the most fun bits of the 24-hour race, so we could have a little recap. If you like our content, don't forget to like, subscribe, so you stay updated from what we do. You can follow us on Instagram for our upcoming races. We have some little things planned. The next race we're doing is 24 hours of Daytona. So you can follow that on our YouTube channel or on our private Twitch channels. So that's from the driver Perry Oosterveer and myself. So there you can follow our point of view, but on our A-PEX Racing Team channel you can also follow our point of view, because I'll be streaming here as normal. So now you can see the standings that we are in 10th position.
Yeah, in 1st place.
So they got a penalty, a drive-through there, and they got a 10-second time penalty added on their finish time, so we secured the victory.
In 2nd place, only 1 lap down. Next Level Racing by SGS Esports.
So that was the recap. Thank you for watching, and hope to see you soon.